Just some guy talking here, and I know that I've posted several videos this week, but this is a special week, and I wanted to make sure that this message was recorded and uploaded prior to there being any kind of official announcement on the results of the presidential election. As you know, I started this channel with a message calling for empathy and compassion for people who are on the opposite side of any of the issues, particularly political ones. Um, and I have done my very best to be as nonpartisan as possible in the messages that I've posted since then, choosing instead to focus on messaging that I think is important for all of us to consider, regardless of what side we might be on, regardless of who we might have been planning to vote for. And I'm going to continue that with this message. What is very clear right now is that more people have voted in this election than at any other point in an national election for a very long time, and that is amazing news for our country. What is that? It's amazing news for our democracy. It's a very, very good sign for how our government, hopefully, for how our government functions moving forward, and people realizing how important their individual voices are. Um, but there are also passionate people on either side. That is also abundantly clear that there are people who are passionate about who they might have wanted to win in this election, who they voted for. And I do very much hope that you voted for whomever it was that you wanted to win in this election because your voice matters too. But the message is this: don't be a sore winner. We all have familiarity with the term sore loser. We know what that means, what that implies when it comes to how somebody acted in the face of defeat. But I want to suggest that it is more important for you to not be a sore winner, for you to be gracious in victory if your side comes out on top. I believe that for a lot of different reasons, not the least of which that that's, the right thing to do. I think that that's the appropriate way for humans to act. Um, it's the appropriate way to um, deal with, again, the devastation that somebody might feel if their candidate or their side has lost, the fear, the anger, the frustration that people feel when that happens, regardless of whether or not they were right, they were wrong, their candidate was the right one or the wrong one. All of these relatively subjective criteria that we use to um, come to our own decisions can lead to inflamed passions, right? And when we are disappointed in the outcome, those inflamed passions can lead us to have really, really um, horrible feelings of disappointment, um, hopelessness. And the winner, I think, should have compassion towards that and realize that just because you won, because your side won, doesn't mean that you should chant scoreboard and, na 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 goodbye and all those things that you do at a sports event. Because this is people's lives. These are people's lives that they're worried for. They are considering what the outcome means to them. And, if their candidate loses, they're going to be devastated. And I don't think that that's something that you should treat lightly, even if your side or your candidate was victorious. And I don't just believe that because it's the right thing to do as a compassionate human, but it's the right thing to do as an American. We are one country. And again, it's obvious from this election that we are one country that, regardless of how the final tally ends up, is pretty evenly split down the middle when it comes to which party we identify with or which party we vote for. And guess what? Just like I said in my first message, it hasn't changed. We need the other side. This country doesn't exist without them. We don't get to carve out the states that didn't go the way that we wanted to. We don't get to not deal with the people who didn't vote the way that we did. We need them for this country to be successful. We need them so that our side can be successful. And I know there's going to be plenty of talk, no matter what happens, about one side, trying to create obstacles for the other. And that's the way that it's always going to work. But The flip side of those obstacles is that they create opportunities for us to grow, for us to get better. But we're not going to realize any of that if we spend all our time after the results are announced, um, either rubbing our victory in somebody else's face, or attacking the victorious side for something that they won in a fair democratic election. I don't know if that resonates for you the way that it resonates for me, but this is very, very important to me that we all start to think about that. How are you going to treat the people who didn't win if your side does? How are you going to treat the people who did win if your side doesn't? You need to have that in your mind. You need to realize that we are all Americans, that we are all hoping for the best for this country. We may be passionately divided in terms of what we think that looks like and how we go about achieving it, but it doesn't change the fact that we are all in this country together and will remain so for as long as this country has the privilege and honor of existing in as a democracy in this world. So I won't go much further with that. I just want to make sure that I get this out there. Like I said, if your side wins, by all means celebrate. Be happy, right? People have fought hard for this election. People have, debated. People have argued. People have had all these, have invested all of this emotional energy into this process. If your side is ultimately victorious, absolutely. You have a right to be happy. You have a right to celebrate. All I'm saying is don't go around and try to step on somebody else's neck. It's not becoming, it's not okay. It's not the right thing to do as a person, and it's not the right thing to do as an American. I'm just some guy talking, and I will talk to you next time.